Coffee time. It's true, we'll make a better day as long as there's coffee. What is up? And then I realized I'm not wearing a shirt. How about that shit? No, I guess it's better than just wearing the same damn shirt I've been wearing. Try no shirt. God forbid I do laundry. Because, oh, there's just numerous reasons why I just can't be bothered or convinced. And if I can't be convinced, I certainly can't be bothered. I know you're familiar with the kitchen floor. Well, there are actually parts of the floor by the laundry where if you step, you will fall through. So on top of trying to spare myself the expense of the detergent and deprive the kids of the laundry that they need for school and shit, it's kind of, we're on borrowed time. And, you know, just, I don't want to be ticking away at it. Yeah. I don't call laundry woman's work. It's the kind of shit that everybody needs to do themselves. Laundry really didn't become just a woman's work, except for in, you know, chauvinistic societies, until laundry machines came about. But in old European and old Gaelic societies, laundry was like a time to meet chicks and stuff, you know, bachelor and everything. Yeah. But you see, then they invented washing machines. And the man was supposed to be at work all day, and it was no longer family units. People started living in houses by themselves. I don't know, it's like voluntarily isolating themselves just for the sake of pretending to own pieces of land. And it's really, you just pretend to own it. You know, you got your fucking homeowners associations and your city telling you everything, building codes, and fucking, you don't really own the land. you know, we basically have about 100 years of history. And before that, we're told that all the men were gunslingers and all the women were whores, basically. And that's just kind of fucking nonsense. But that's kind of how we all imagine it because that's what we see in the movies, and that, you know, because stuff gets seen in the movies, the history teachers are like, well, we'll teach them about this because at least they'll fucking remember it because it's in the fucking movies. You know, sometimes it's morons, not just Russian agents. What can you do? What can you do? What can you say? What can you do? What can you say or do when you can't decide whether to say, do, or say? What? Anyways. So back in the 50s, the mom was some sort of superwoman. Okay? It was just the one mom. Didn't have her mom living with her, didn't have her sister living with her. Just the one mom. Because that one mom was all you needed if you had these appliances. Because before 100 years ago, um, not many families just lived in single family units. You know what I mean? Like, you'd have just extended families living on compounds and shit, or in a fucking apartment, you know, like wherever they had to squeeze. And it wouldn't just be the dad working, it'd be the dad and the mom working. Her mom would be watching the kids, or his mom would be watching the kids, you know. They'd have younger aunt and uncle staying with them or something like that. You know, families were bigger. They overlapped, and siblings helped raise each other and help pay the bills at each other. You know, like an older couple would have a younger brother and sister, or a younger brother or sister and their spouse move in and help pay bills and shit. I mean, that still happens, but you know, the suburbanization of America led to a new ideal worldwide of what it meant to be successful. You had to have your own fucking place. And then we started pressuring our kids to move out because, I don't know, we got marketed. Dingo, come on, fuck. Don't pull this bullshit again. Mind if I fucking speak? Huh? You think because I'm fucking speaking, you get to start chewing your fucking shit now, huh? You've been laying there fucking quiet. Asshole. All dogs, once they get about 10 years old, they just become assholes. I love them, but I'm feeling grumpy. Nah. That's enough. Lay down. Sleepy time. Stop looking at me. Just looking at me. Dingo, lay down. Lay down. That's enough. Good boy. He likes to bend up in his little spot. It's hilarious. Anyways. The fuck is that dark patch on your shoulder? Must be mud from outside. He needs a bath. He was supposed to get one yesterday. I went on a tirade about it earlier. Kira's asleep. It's about 1:30 in the morning here. She's usually not up this late. Just me and the stomatellas on the glass, and apparently no kittens. Anyways. We went from basically obsessing the adults in this country with personal convenience to obsessing children with personal convenience. And, you know, of course there's nothing more convenient than children, inconvenient than children. So what this has led to, basically the corruption of capitalism into consumerism, and the lordship, the temptingness of the lordship that overexertion of financial power allows for people to be able to live as kings within a country, essentially above the law. But what it's actually about is the reduction of a population. Keeping people from wanting to have children. Keeping people from being able to raise children effectively. Not just the breakdown of society by those children being raised effectively, but also just making people not want to have children. And it's not about white kids, black kids, Mexican, China, whatever. Anybody in America. They want them obsessed with convenience, and they want them to just have less children, while they tell all their people to have more children. And it's just about doing things by the numbers. And we just remain so ignorant. We look at the TV screen and we see old green painted equipment and we don't think it's a threat. Why? Why wouldn't you think something like that is a threat? Of course, we're not shown it anymore lately. Have you noticed that? We're not shown the old, out-of-date, silly armies like Saddam Hussein had, remember? They used to always show us. This is Al Jazeera, and they only showed a brief little clip of this. Those are some good old refitted T-38 chassis with the controls relocated. That's a direct from Russia modification. And that top turret, so those aren't just some homemade turrets, those are visually modified, probably manufactured in Russia. But the ability to control it from the top like that, I doubt Venezuela developed that independently. That's a new thing Russia came out with a few years ago. And you see this guy down here, that's where the guy is supposed to sit. See, they got that welded shut. You see back, you know, like, picture that as a Russian T-38 tank. You'd see the little Russian pilot guy with his helmet right there. That's a few hundred miles away from me. And I don't find that very comforting. Because, you know, I love my sword and all. But, I don't know a move from which to defend against artillery. So, I said that it would take a civil war in Venezuela, all right? The most likely tactical scenario to lead to the ends which I know Russia wants, so I know they're planning, I know they're trying to affect this, okay? A civil war in Venezuela is what would consolidate Maduro's power enough and cause enough of a Russian presence to not only lead to a degree of political strife between the United States and Venezuela to where we would have the whole Venezuelan terrorist thing attacking our presence inside of Mexico, by the way, at first, but then striking in the United States. But then that basically open conscription. This whole thing in Venezuela is staged out just to lead to open conscription, because the only way since I gave my tactical warnings for the last vulnerability, okay, the invasion of New Orleans, all right, Obama acted on that warning. We saw a fucking train with over 240 mechanized infantry and Bradleys and shit like that going right towards where I said they needed to go. So that's pretty much squared away. And I would just judge from that we have a whole different contingency about that shit. And, well, I'm well positioned as far as the network of people that I know around here. And if Russians show up, believe me, I'm the first one they're gonna fucking call. So, oh yeah, and my little Russian troll friends might notice that they have no record of these interactions that I speak of. Huh. Funny how that is. Maybe if you could zoom in on a campfire late at night and listen to the crackling. Anyway, so the conscription of Venezuela, okay, Argentina, hard to deploy from. Colombia, too hard to unify, also hard to deploy from. But there you have, on one side, a bunch of people who, and on the other side, a bunch of people who don't fuck like Trump. And of course, right when I hit the fucking jugular, right when I hit the nerve, I gotta reconnect the broadcast. And now this bit'll probably be edited out. So I'll just keep making this point for as long as possible. On one side, you have people that hate America, that basically work with Russia. On the other side, you have basically normal fucking people. Okay. Oh yeah, hi troll. I know. You done fucked up my broadcast, and now you're gonna make sure you know where to edit it and all. I just saw it go to 2 and back to 1 again. Right after having to reconnect. Because I made a fucking point. One bit of communication I've been putting off because I know they can monitor it is my communication with Adam Schiff. But I really need to make sure that they've been fucking tracking this bullshit lately. Because if you want a fucking quick way to understand exactly how Google and Russia collude to mind fuck all of America, including obstructing their investigation. All you gotta do is track the bullshit that goes on behind the scenes while I try to broadcast. All you gotta do is track the people that fuck with my lovely fans here. Just to see how complicated, how nuanced, how aggressive, how insidious the actual campaign against us is. Think about it. My viewers get fucked with. You know, it's bad enough that I get fucked with. I'm just some guy talking. You know what I mean? I'm just some guy talking. And they're literally worried about me talking to too many people. Because they're so focused on mind fucking them. Yep, they're all trying to fuck you. And I'm at the bar holding a flashlight saying, hey, that one doesn't really look that good to me. You might want to zip it back up. Right? This is the channel where people come to unfuck their minds. And I apologize that I happen to fucking have the whole Jesus thing going. I really wish I could just be a normal person and be able to help you, but apparently the two things go hand in hand. Ooh, new theory. Wait, that's kind of an old theory, but like the aliens or whatever convinced me to go crazy so that I wouldn't get assassinated. So they'd just be like, well, fucking guy thinks he's Jesus. What could he possibly do? It's plausible. That's some nice aliens, aren't they? They're always thinking way ahead. Apparently they're psychic aliens. Psychic aliens that can't turn pear-shaped? What? Oh, so did you catch Bathurst, Susie? Do you watch touring car racing at all? Yeah, I have to get in the top 1% anytime I'm on my little racing game and they have fucking Mount Panorama come up. I was like the top 8 driver in America. I think I was 316th or something like that. I forgot what it was. I took a fucking picture of it. I had shared it a while back. They have these. Okay, so let me just explain in case you're not familiar. Gran Turismo is not just a game. Gran Turismo certifies actual fucking race car drivers. Peter Brock? Huh. Like just trying to place it. Like, is that one of them Australian drivers? The V8 supercars? Well, oh fuck, what was I gonna What was I gonna say? What was I just talking about? Damn it. Gran Torino? No. Gran Turismo. Yes, Gran Turismo. Yeah. Torino. Like, isn't that a Clint Eastwood movie? Anyways. So, sitting over there, kind of shoved off to the side of my TV, is this $120 something I got on a fucking steal of a deal Logitech steering wheel and pedals. And this thing resists like a car with no power steering. Okay, and you can turn off and on the power steering. You can turn off and on traction control, stability management, driver assistance, steering assistance, variable ratio steering. You can change out the steering degree angle, just like you would be able to in a regular race car. And you can modify camber, caster, brake bias, bound, rebound, spring rate, toe in, toe out. every single gear on the transmission, the final drive ratio, the the differential, everything that you can do to a race car, basically, other than have to fix it. You can even add turbos to a Civic. Put a spoiler on it. Little body kit. And go race against the Corvette that won the the Le Mans, the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Yeah, you can take a Civic and go hunt that motherfucker if you want to. Okay? And it's fun. Good luck on figuring out a tire strategy that works if you want to actually have realism enabled. But you can have no tire wear, so you can fuck around. That's the only actual game-like thing about it. You can take off the tire wear. Or you can basically choose how realistic the tire wear is, so you can get a realistic practice when it comes to deciding when to pit, deciding how much fuel to take, deciding which tire compound to use, because you have your hard tires, your medium tires, your soft tires, your ultra soft tires, your rain tires, your sports tires, sports hard tires, sports soft tires, street tires, which are comfort tires. So you have all the different actual types of tires that you have in real life. You can change the rims on it. You can change body kits on a lot of different cars. You can drive a Civic from the 80s, or Corvette, or old Aston Martin, Austin Healey. A fucking Spitfire. They got TVRs. We got Holdens. They've got all the fucking old Hondas, Fords. They've even got the old RS 400 on there, the Australian Ford. So, what they do is they have a competition online, and the winners of the online competition go and basically become real fucking race car drivers. They go into like a little real life competition, and then they choose the real, drivers from that. It's not only the winner that gets a sponsorship, it's sometimes a lot of the other drivers too. But the winner always gets, big payout. And gets to drive with the Gran Turismo team, which is a factory Nissan team, at the 24 Hours of Nürburgring. Oh, I would love that. But anyways. Now, the people who really win online, you can go and look what kind of controller they're using. None of them are using this old piece of shit controller I use. Yeah, they're all using a better controller. And they all have these setups that are like these metal racks. And it's just fucking brilliant. They got like an actual racing seat and everything. And it just holds it firm. And bear in mind the amount of steering resistance that you get when you're fucking handling, a V8 or bigger. Did I mention they have Aston Martins? All of them. and McLarens, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Formula One cars, prototype cars, NASCARs, and real circuits, real life circuits. They have Mount Panorama on there, down to I think 60 millimeters. Now, my little steering wheel is mounted to one of them pieces of wood that comes out of a desk because it's a cheap desk. You know, the little keyboard tray that just inevitably fucking falls out of there. Yeah, my steering wheel just sits on one of those. And that sits on my lap. So when I start to oversteer and I have to correct, my dashboard moves. But out of the 100,000 or so people, I got top 300. And it's generally, you know, at least 50,000 people. And I try to get it under 1,000. I try to get under into the top 1,000. Because I figure about 5,000 of those people are probably actual fucking race car drivers. Because there's a lot more race car drivers than you'd probably think in the world. And by 50 to 100,000 people, we're talking guys from Brazil, Japan, China, Russia, everywhere. Which is cool, because you get to, like, make friends in different countries and shit. And, you know, like, being one of the better drivers on there, I would make friends with exclusively really good fucking drivers. Like, ah, here's a guy who can really fucking drive and just doing some sweet virtual shit with him, you know? Like respecting and leaving room and just doing stuff that looks really good on a replay. Oh yeah, and they have replays, you know? But if you want to see what I'm talking about, you can look and find my Gran Turismo videos on here. I think the first one I would recommend is the minivan. Orange minivan. On Nürburgring. Against GT cars. I won't tell you if I won. But I won. I won. I don't think you'd believe it if you... Once you start the video, you probably won't believe me. You'll have to see the whole thing. If you start the video, you'll just be like, there's no fucking way he wins this. It's a Honda Odyssey. Okay? Against, like, the Corvette Le Mans car, the McLaren GTR car, like... bright orange, blue wheels, and a big-ass spoiler. Honda Odyssey. It is fucking hilarious. That is a genuinely hilarious race to watch. One of the ways I made friends with the current touring car champion. the way I made friends with the former touring car champion is the well, my long history of being just a raving loyal fan and all the ideas that I've sent them. But I know the one video of his that really tickled him. Okay, it's the uh, S600, I think it. The little tiny Honda, little classic Honda. I think it's an S600. There's different sizes of them. Um, tiny fucking car that has a little tiny motorcycle engine, and I just barely beat like Vipers and Corvettes and Lamborghinis and shit with it. Starting in the back. Always starting in the back in Gran Turismo. So you gotta work your way up. And I literally, in order to win the race, had to put my car in front of the car and make him push me across the line. Otherwise, he would have passed me. I just crashed into him. Just made him T-bone me. Anyways. But that right there, like... Okay, so the technology of that steering wheel right there is what led to your current, like, driving assistance, you know? Okay? That whole electric interface steering wheel that you have now, the whole electric interface gas pedal, that was all technology that was developed at the same time that came from the video game steering wheels, basically. It's simulator technology, you know? Now I consider myself to have trained in this simulator. Alright, it's not just a fucking game to me. I've been around the Nürburgring in that game thousands and thousands of times. I mean, thousands of times. Not many people can reliably do 6-minute lap times. Okay? Um, so I consider myself a pretty well versed in how effective that interface is as far as training the hand-eye coordination and car control, because I've directly benefited from that in real life, you know. um, Drifting a car in real life is actually easier because I don't, you know, the fucking dashboard doesn't move. But just the overall confidence in the sense of control, you can really get that from the simulator. Now, when you're driving on the road, how many people do you see that you think might benefit from some time in a simulator? Why don't we use this wonderful fucking thing more? So many goofy ass games, so many goofy ass distractions. There's so many fucking hobbies that are perfectly addictive that not only, you know, promote safety and congeniality, I suppose, manners. But when it comes to like cars, it would benefit everybody for everybody to learn more about cars. Down to just, being able to change fluids and fix your own tire, and just knowing when your vehicle was no longer safe to be driving, and understanding how to keep it that way, maintained. People just use cars as if they're some sort of magical thing, and then basically act like it's some mechanic's responsibility to not make a living. Because they don't know anything about cars. Oh, that's too much. Well, that's what it costs to fix it, because you don't know anything about cars. And because people don't know anything about cars, you have shitty mechanics. Oh yes. It's not the shitty mechanic's fault. No, it takes a long time to become a shitty mechanic. It's a process of jading. I'm pretty sure of this. Unless they like grew up with a shitty mechanic dad or something, I don't know. But if people knew about cars, mechanics would be staying a lot more busy, because people would be maintaining their cars properly. Because when you own your car for about 5 years, get that 120,000 miles on it, and you don't go take it and get the valves checked and the timing belt changed and the water pump serviced and everything, gas mileage really starts to dwindle. And there's always, of course, the chance of failure. Not so much in a Honda. But the gas mileage, the acceleration, everything just gets crappier and crappier. And over the next few years, you'll spend more than that much money in extra gas money. And meanwhile, the environment suffers because you know nothing about cars. And salespeople and mechanics all having trouble pay their bills because people know nothing about cars. The reason why that comes into play is because the entire market, the way even people build cars, is based on the fact that people know nothing about cars. BMW just said, fuck it, we're just going to lease everything because people know nothing about cars. You know, now every company has a lease thing. I'm aware of that, but it started with BMW and Mercedes because people would just buy the car or drive it for a couple of years and then trade it in without having done a single oil change. So, anyway. If people knew more about cars, they wouldn't make cars to be so damn cheap and disposable. Because they would expect to make more money on the service side. And just because you know about cars doesn't mean you're fixing it yourself. It just means, you have a job and you have other income, and you're aware of what's going on with the wear and tear on your vehicle as you drive it to and from work every day. You'd like to keep it in optimal working condition. But no, people know so little about cars that we're talking about automating cars because, you know, that's really smart in a time of cyber warfare. Automating traffic on a network so it can be hacked. You know? But anyways, speaking of how smart we are when it comes to the time that we're living in, back to the whole Venezuela thing. You see, what's happening right now in Venezuela has been staged out to lead up to Trump's leading us into war. Okay? Because what's happening in Venezuela has to happen in order for Maduro to call for open conscription. Okay? Now, what you're talking about is the sheer amount of manpower that it would take to occupy most of the United States. You know, the parts that wouldn't be occupied by Russian and Chinese forces. And of course, Mongolian and North Korean forces. How are the Mongolians going to get here? They only got one boat, all on the Manchurian Navy, the same way they got to Pearl Harbor. Only that, yeah, Manchuria belonged to Japan a few months before. That's how they got them nice boats and planes. And then we wound up in a war with our ally, Japan. Our ally. Our ally 2 weeks earlier. Our ally ever since. Bingo. Two weeks before, the Japanese supposedly bombed us, we said that we would send them ammunition and supplies if they continued their war with, guess who? Russia. Yep, it was a ruse. Ho, 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 ho. Let's count the number of times they've fooled us. 1. Oh, 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 oh. 2. Oh, oh, oh. Count up. Dingo. Anyways. So, what's happened just now in Venezuela is one of the generals has defected So there's one step closer towards civil war. There was a massive anti-Maduro protest and a counter-protest today. And that was the result. Maduro's basically got most of the military on his side, and now one out of many generals is now on the other side. Other than that, it's mostly political bodies that are on the other side. It seems they have two sets of every political body. It's basically a civil war without the fighting. It's just kind of waiting to have a little staged breakout, after which Maduro will clamp down, call for full conscription, and then the fuckery between him and Trump will play out and lead to this catastrophe fuck. So one thing I found interesting is if you look here under top stories, I guarantee none of these will be about Russia. You'll see something by RT before you see something about Russia. YouTube has these recommended little sections, and they never say anything about Russia. They're literally put here to distract from the topic regarding Russia of the day. To help with Trump's campaign of distraction directly, it seems. Virginia governor refuses to resign, the big fucking thing that's been played out today to distract us from the nuclear non-proliferation treaty being abandoned. Tulsi Gabbard kicks off a presidential campaign. Clay Thompson, ESPN. Protest outside of a Brooklyn jail. New England Patriots. Meteorite appears to hit Cuba. Azar on Trump administration drug debate. ESPN. Super Bowl. 8 powerful quotes to celebrate Black History Month, and somebody breaks his silence after he was assaulted. Yep. Nothing about the non-proliferation thing. Top stories. Nothing in the recommendations either. Oh, we got Michael Moore. The only MSNBC video thing I'm getting in my recommendations is the Michael Moore. That's nice. Anyways. So let's see what the latest news is. Atlanta is the Hollywood of the South. I thought New Orleans was the Hollywood of the South. Atlanta's hardly even in the fucking South. Putin has announced that they will abandon the treaty in response to, Trump abandoning the treaty, because, that's who told him to abandon the fucking treaty in the first place. So this was just fucking played out. Did I mention these people are the enemies of humanity? Oh yeah, I think I mentioned that. I mean, why wait for global warming to fuck everything up when you could just nuke it? Iran unveils a new long-range cruise missile. Well, gee, that didn't come from Russia. Virginia governor, Virginia governor, Virginia governor, Kamala Harris, Virginia governor. Maduro, Maduro, Virginia governor, Maduro. Virginia governor, Virginia governor, Virginia governor. Sports, 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 Virginia governor. Italy's government targets town known for taking in migrants. I wonder if 3 whole people watched that. Anyways, it's like the who of who gives a shit. Like, Venezuela, sports, sports, Venezuela, sports, sports. Russia will abandon nuclear arms treaty. Pope to visit UAE with message of peaceful coexistence. Look at that shit. Groundhog Day again. Boy, damage report. Those fucking Young Turks people just can't go a day without posting about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Oh my goodness. I wonder if I can say Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez without a fucking Bernie troll showing up. I wonder how many of those people actually know that they work for Russia. Fucking morons. Oh, but the Young Turks is just a group of students that you just misunderstand. I dated the royal princess of Armenia. She'd beg to differ. What with the whole Armenian genocide thing? Virginia governor. Supreme Court blocks Louisiana abortion law from taking effect. Good job, Supreme Court. I'm sure it was nothing logical. Trump still doing the hinting at declaring a national emergency to build a border wall. That's all I have to say about that. Well, I guess nothing special's been happening. I think we could all learn a whole lot from endurance racing. One of the team leaders on there, might have been the team owner. I think he was just a manager, though. He was talking about how it's kind of sad that so many ideas and conversations and good times and masteries of skill and organization and complex planning. You know, I'm elaborating because I knew what he was talking about, just by saying so much goes into this. No one will ever know, but they can't even imagine how much is behind that victory. And when you're talking about these race teams, you're not talking about people who bought a street car and modified it. They didn't buy a ready-built Le Mans race car like they have nowadays. They didn't buy a supercar and put a roll cage in it. Not like NASCAR, where you go and get the standard tube frame and then put the stickers on it that say Chevy or the stickers on it that say Toyota, and it's all the same damn car. These are prototypes. These are built either by the auto manufacturer that's building some sort of crazy prototype engine, or by a prototype chassis manufacturer bought by an independent team who then mates that chassis with a motor of their choice. And the chassis has to meet some safety regulations, but other than that, it is completely just open season on how these things are built. Most of them nowadays are just nothing but carbon fiber. Everything but the suspension, you know. The whole body, the whole chassis. And they're made to just flow air better and better every design they make. And these manufacturers and independent teams come from around the world. From South America, India, Asia, Africa, Europe, of course. Even Russia. even Canada. And of course, you can't keep the Aussies away from a race. We have driving one of our Acuras. We have an Aussie girl named Catherine Legg, I think. I think she's Australian. Let me see. There's a couple of female Australian drivers in that race right there. One of them's a two-time champion. And not from no damn girls league or nothing. From that league right there. She's a two-time champion in her class. And that's 3 classes raced simultaneously for 24 hours. You got the prototypes. Actually got 2 different classes of prototypes, so 4 classes total, excuse me. You got the all-powerful prototypes, you got the limited powerful prototypes, basically. And you got your GT Le Mans cars, and you got your GT Daytona cars. Le Mans being the faster one. You've got disabled veteran teams. You've got manufacturers teams. You got the independent teams, and you've got some that are just like a group of former racing people that come together for a charity, just to promote a charity or something like that. And now, people ain't perfect, and racing isn't perfect. But when it all comes down to it, it's a fine example of how people can come together from all over the world, from all kinds of different walks of life, and participate in one of mankind's peak activities. The knowledge, the skill, the talent, the endurance, the coordination, the hard work, the stamina. It's not just an Olympics of sport, it's an Olympics of art and engineering and craftsmanship. Because cars are the basic expression of everything that mankind has achieved. All of our computer technology, our furniture technology, our building technology, all of our mechanical, chemical, electronic, everything we can do, we put into these machines that bring us to and from our homes, to our jobs, and to the store, and wherever else we need to go. So they can make us comfortable and keep us safe. And when people rig a race, they get caught. People rig a football game all the time. Nobody does shit. Somebody cheats on a race, they're going to get caught. Because guess what? You get weighed and inspected at the end of a race to make sure that you weren't cheating. And the way these races are filmed these days, there's no hiding from the cameras anyway. It's everything that your whole team could do versus everything that whole other teams could do. And let me tell you, if you want to check out this 2018 Rolex 24 Hours, actually that's the 2019 I thought that I just watched. Oh, that's last year's they're showing right there. I just finished watching this guy here. Ooh, look, there's the Acura I designed. Well, helped design. Everything there is exactly what I told them to do. The one thing that's different from the picture I sent them, they took the alternate advice that I gave, which was to modify the rear wheel arches to perform the same function as the proposed C-pillar splitter, which was, well, hold on. Since I've already fucking bragged once on this video, I might as well show this puppy off. If I can find the right notebook. Oh. Why did I think I had them in order? So anyway, you see the little arcs above the rear wheels, how they're kind of inset. Well, that is to guide air over the rear wing. Where this one had the C-pillar, this weird funky spoiler. I told them I was just kind of being experimental with that, okay? And obviously this is more of a streetized version, because this is not a regulation spoiler. You have to have a regulation spoiler on that, but the whole idea was to make this spoiler right here even at an angle that looked like an NSX, and I sent them a lengthy description on how and why to make it look like a fucking NSX, right? So get a good look at that car and just take off that thing right there and move its function right here. Okay? Now, that's what they built. In fact, I'll go ahead and get you a better look at it, since sitting way the fuck over here and zooming in isn't working all that well. See, this valence right here would typically be much lower. But I said if they moved it up there, you might get better front downforce, and it will look just like the NSX. Well, not just like, but as much like an NSX as the prototype can. And then with the rear wheels, the arches, they bent them, just bent them way the hell in, just like I had them. Only actually even more, because what I had sent in the email was that if you didn't want to do the splitter, you could bend in the rear wheel arches to move more air up to the rear spoiler so that you could make it you know, just a little lower profile. It has to be a certain width and placement behind the car. I think that's about it as far as the regulations. They can have as much actual meat on it, and they can have it at the whatever angle that they want to. And it seems some of them have multiple level splitters, and some of them just have the one level splitter. Like they're shaped different too. But as far as like the width, and also I think the little squares on the end, those are regulation too. Anyways, yeah, there was my concept. And I sent that to Ryan and Petey. And they sent that to the people. And they made that fucking race car. And all I want to say is like, I appreciate the posters and the shirt, but you know, can I get like a little something off of it? I'm kidding. Anyway, no baby shark today. Yeah, like, okay, so I saved the world, and Obama sent me a t-shirt. I helped them out with their front downforce on the fucking TLX race car, and I sent them that fucking design, and they built it. I got a t-shirt and 2 posters. October before Obama got elected, I sent him the plan called Public-Private Investment Program. That is now a government function. He made it a government function, I think, was February 26th after he got elected. The economy was going like this. They implemented my plan, and I think by the next quarter's end, it had gone back up $8 trillion. By the end of the summer, it had regained 16 trillion, or about 12,000 or 8,000 points on the Dow. The plan was followed to the teeth. %, of the basically, you remember the word credit default swap? Have you heard this story before? The credit default swaps were basically giant loan packages, and the problem with them is that the values of the properties represented by these individual loans had basically become unknowns. So, to figure out what these unknowns were, the government either needed to spend a bunch of money or needed to put somebody in on the cut. Okay? So my plan was a plan on how to put somebody in on the cut. The government would decide on what the last known value of what each individual asset bundle was. Okay? And then they would offer a 20% stake to a private investor. They would retain 80%. If that investor, after buying 20% of that last known value, then reorganizes the entire asset and makes a profit, guess what? They make a profit too. Everybody's happy. And that is what saved the fucking world economy. You're welcome. And again, all I got was a fucking t-shirt. And that t-shirt got stolen by a fucking bitch who I fucking paid to clean my fucking house. Yeah. Come to think of it. I thought my wife had ordered another one of those shirts for my birthday, and then I never got it. But I thought I saw her order it. Must be tripping, huh? I need to remember to ask her about that. Like, did she put it to the side somewhere? Forget it. It said, if a voice can change a room, then it can change a city. If it can change a city, if it can change a country, and if it can change a country, it can change a world. One voice, over and over again, one voice. Shit made me cry. I felt like I had actually served a purpose. All I gotta say is to whoever stole credit for that idea or denied me of credit or, just didn't think that I deserved to have my fucking name mentioned for what I contributed to my country so that maybe I could, have a hope of succeeding in life based on having built a resume of doing things worth the fuck. Go fuck yourself, whoever you are. That I don't care. But like somebody who worked for Obama, somebody who did a lot of good. Well, you still stole my fucking ideas, and by keeping them to yourselves, my lack of fame has cost us democracy. Basically, it's a good job, whoever the fuck. Whoever the fuck decided to take my fucking name off the goddamn PPIP plan that saved the entire world economy. And please, please go look it up. Because it is basically the financial mechanism that recovered our bailout money and everything. And it's like, what am I, making this shit up? Sent that to them, I think it was October 25th, before he was even elected. As the economy was collapsing, as soon as I understood what a fucking credit default swap was, and it was because um, something kind of clicked. When I heard what a credit default swap was, I realized that that is what Global Deposit Online must have been up to. And that's that shitty real estate guy that I was sort of masterminding and being like a driver slash bodyguard for. Driver slash bodyguard slash planning his ventures for him. I was basically like Kuratsuchi's Lieutenant Nemu, only I don't make nearly as pretty of a geisha. That's a very funny joke if you watch Bleach, but otherwise, yeah. But yeah. The type of people he was involved with, the numbers at play, and the type of investments that it was supposedly about made me think that that thing that they were doing, the Global Deposit Online thing, was what had caused. Like it was one of the big busts that kind of caused the credit default swap collapse. But what's weird is that it also seems to have led them to a big Russian intelligence collection. And, well, those kind of schemes, not uncommon as far as the shit that Russia pulls. So it wouldn't surprise me if the fact that those people connected to Confederates is just part of the whole greater connection between things. Between the Russians and the Confederates in this country. Because that guy I was working for, he was staying in, and he had me set up this call center in David Duke's old mansion. Okay? And a lot of the people he was fucking doing business with were friends of fucking David Duke. Yeah. Anyways. Well. You see, smart shit like that, and my ability to solve problems like that, all I got to do is understand the problem, and chances are I'll solve it for you. That's the real reason why this channel is suppressed. That's the reason why YouTube has basically formed its policies around its complaints of me and penalized so many other people for two reasons: to silence me and to cover for their fucking collusion with Russia. Their continued collusion with Russia. Good morning. There's just so many ways that we could be doing better as a society if people who made sense were allowed to speak. But they don't just let anybody speak. You got to speak in terms of whatever the talking points of the day are. You got to speak with approved think. You got to talk about what's trending, what's gone viral. Anybody takes a step back and says, hey, this is a destructive influence on our children. And nobody seems to notice it because it's not a violent video game. We allow hypocrites to speak for the religious. Unless you're the Pope. The Pope still gets to be the Pope. And then we allow the godless to speak for the liberal when rights were endowed to us by our Creator. It's a ploy to destroy the Constitution. All you have to do to see that it's a ploy to destroy the Constitution is just play it out to its inevitable conclusion. The separation of church and state does not equate to the abolition of religion, or the right, or some perverse responsibility of a government to shun it. See, you can't ask for somebody, I'm sorry, to take down the Ten Commandments. You can't ask for somebody to take down the manger. And if you want to put up your Baphomet statue, it better be right there next to the Ten Commandments in a size that is equal to the distribution of your religion relevant to the religion that the other monument represents. So just buy a little plastic figurine and staple it to a post. Because nobody ever fucking believed in Baphomet. Ever. Ever. I know, because I'm basically Baphomet. Isn't that the Baphomet noise? Yeah, let's just make that the Baphomet noise. Okay. Hooty hoo. Hooty fucking who? Don't you wish you were a Baphomet too? No, it's a made up fucking comic book deity, basically. No one ever. No one ever said, fuck Jesus, I'm going to worship a satyr. It's a satyr. It's fictional character. Now, Bahamut from Final Fantasy That's more along the lines of what I'm, like when I'm angry, as opposed to baby shark, doo, 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 baby shark, doo, baby shark. You know what's funny? Is that is some stupid shit from my high school. Actually, from a middle school that I didn't even go to. And the whole reason why that shit got popular, I think, is because of the kid that's on the Daily Show. I mean, not the Daily Show, the Colbert Show. Stephen Colbert. In the band. Because he used to do that shit. Because he went to that middle school. I didn't go to that middle school. But there's like a whole thing to it. Like, I don't even know. They like chasing shit and like I don't know. I think one of them drowns. I don't know. It's like a whole story with like do 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 in the middle. I know that's fascinating. I'm gonna shut the fuck up about that now. But anyways, I'm crawling out of my skin. How are you? No, like really, I know I'm in a fucked up state where I just start talking about things that I've done. I get no respect, no recognition. I'm so depressed. I'll never accomplish anything. Jeez, somebody's porn subscription's expired. What? I don't pay for porn. I don't think that's an original joke. Like after I said it, I realized, wait, no, I think somebody's already made that joke. I'm not sure who, but I'm pretty sure they're funnier than I am. Anyways. And now I'm going to sit here and resist the urge to describe the new thing I patented today. Or the new patent I thought of today. Since I didn't successfully use the past tense of the word patent. Yeah. But yeah. I am just struggling with fucking existence because I can't get anything done. Like, I want to be hammering fucking survey spikes into a field. Okay? Like I want to be getting that done. And I'm not. It hurts. It stinks. It's somehow awful. Just I don't know how to describe it. It's just awful. This whole mortality thing. It's for the boys, I tell you. For the boys. I have one page left in my new notebook. What? Baptist dude? You're so random. Jeez. Throws me the fuck off. Um. Yes, yes, him. With the baby fish thing. You must be lagging behind, jeez. But anyways. I got like when it comes to something as complex as like uh, a system of building any building, basically, any size, shape, just about building, you know, as long as it's some sort of rectangle or series of rectangles. Um, it's not like, say, a coffee cup. You've got your cup and you've got your fucking handle, don't you? And if you're lucky, you've got some coffee in it. Mm. Sorry. But like, this whole thing, it's kind of like I really understand my car, okay? I have no doubt that in an emergency situation, I could even take apart the fucking transmission if I had to, okay? I don't know in my mind everything that's in there. Hell, I don't know in my mind just off the top of my head. Like, I can't sketch every single part of the motor. I can sketch most of them. But I'll probably overlap a lot of it with the B16, which I can sketch more of. H22 is just a little more complicated. I don't know what the oil squirters actually look like. I've never held one in my hands or seen them installed. I've seen the diagrams, but I haven't seen the things sitting there. I've only seen them sitting by themselves in a blurry picture. Used. But there's a difference between having a concept of something and knowing it like the back of your fucking hand, you know? It's been a long time since I could say that my buildings were a concept. I've developed them a lot more intensely. But up until this point, I only had them like as well as I know my Accord, for instance. Pretty damn well, but I can't just sit there and draw every part the way my old Integra. I could just, you know, I could almost just draw you a wiring diagram of the PGMFI system in that fucking thing. Because I spent so much time on it. I spent so much time working on it, you know. I now know these buildings part by part. I know where I'm going to put every bolt, every nail, every screw, every piece of wire and rebar. I know everywhere I'm going to pour concrete. I know every step of the way what materials I'm going to change to as I can afford them, as I can make them myself. And I think I can erect one of these buildings in a day. Not with interior and plumbing and electrical, but the structure. To really make something as high quality and high value, long lasting as I want to make it, you can't have one day where that shit's exposed to the weather on the inside. You know, when you leave your construction materials out at the job site, that shit is rotting before it ever even gets turned into your house. And then when they're building your house, the day's dew and frost, whatever, goes and gets in everything that they're doing. And then every imperfection that they do because they're at odd angles on that job site causes water leakage. All the cheap materials and bullshit shortcuts that they do to get stuff done causes water and wind leakage. And houses just don't get built properly. Most of them just get built like total shit boxes. Like even this old trailer here, okay? As crappy as this thing was constructed, and it was constructed very cheaply, it's about on par with modern house construction in the suburbs. It's really sad, the type of shit that they use. They basically just wrap it in plastic. You've been at a salt processing plant? Ooh. Yes, thank you for the prayers for money. Because, I need this fucking investment to come, that's for sure. I just, like, I just want the land. I just want the land. If I had the land, I could do everything else from there. I can leverage the land to get the construction covered. But anyways. So, modular buildings in general allow you to store all the construction materials inside. Mr. Conway, what's up? And one of the reasons why modular buildings wind up so cheap and made of these different alternative materials and stuff is so that they can be put up in a day, so that they don't have that whole thing where they're sitting on there. Cool. Well, to a point. Salt can cause your arteries to go brittle eventually, but yeah. Anyways. So, one thing I didn't want to have happen was make these buildings complicated to the point, because like you got to complicate them to add the capabilities, to add the upgradability, to make them flood proof, to make them structurally sound from 3 dimensions, you know, not just able to stand up, right? But then to get it to where you could put the whole damn thing up in one day, beams and all. That was something. I counted every single thing, every actual major component required to make the building, seal it off. Floor, walls, roof, right? Exterior. And I allotted 20 minutes to install each one. Okay? So I came up with 32 hours. Divided by 4, 8 hours. That's fucking lovely. I mean, I did not do that on purpose either. I was just sitting there counting the parts. So that's the 40 foot by 40 foot, basically the standard size. You know, it could be anything from an office workshop to a 4-bedroom house. Makes a very luxurious 2-bedroom. Pretty nice 3-bedroom. Four guys, 1 day. House. The day before, concrete. Well, concrete and cinder blocks. The Chinese use very similar foundation methods. I'm going to be sort of making things more palatable for the mud around here. Pun intended. I got depressed earlier, speaking of pallets. Back before I hurt my back, I was a stock clerk at a grocery store, and I was basically the evening head stocker and would run the stock crew on the weekends and in the summertime. Well, except for when I quit to work construction for a few weeks. Well, I kind of prided myself on my ability to stack shit. I weigh 172 pounds now. I weighed 212 back then. I'm 6'3". And there was like your regular wooden pallets, right? And those, man, you just toss them like nothing, okay? But there were these things we called Shep pallets, okay? And they were painted blue on the sides, all right? All around. And these fucking things were heavy as shit. And I loved them. I loved them mostly because other people would struggle with them. And I would just go, "Rah, you're my bitch, get the fuck where I want you." You know? And I would get to basically practice kung fu with the damn things, because you'd have to make a stack. You'd be making a stack as high as could be pallet jacked into an 18-wheeler. Okay, so a stack considerably higher than me. And it had to be even. Yeah, you know them? Well, I could fucking flip those things up just right on that damn stack, and I'd hardly ever have to adjust. You know, after 3 years of doing that shit, it just became fucking fun for me, you know, like. And I just got depressed thinking about, like, I can't even mimic the motion. Well, you know, nothing is in my hands. Without, like, just enough pain to make me a little nauseous. Dingo, it's enough. Lay down. Anyways. That's why I'm all bent out of shape over not being able to get started with this investment plan. Because there's just not much of shit else I could fucking do. Especially not that, like, my household can withstand. Oh. Even if I was to find a job that I could just sit on my ass, this house would fall apart. Nobody would ever wake up on time. People would be missing the buses. Fucking neighbors' kids would probably just get hit by a car. Dingo. And when it comes to jobs in this immediate vicinity, I got one choice. What the fuck is a bandana? Winter needs to be over so I can cut my damn hair. Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, this is just retarded. Like, why just the one thing? Like, all the, like, there, that's not just fucking, there we go. Now I look like a chicken. Knock, knock. Never mind. What the fuck was I talking about? Oh, yeah. Crazy. I was crazy once. They put me in a rubber room. I hated that rubber room. I died in that rubber room. They buried me with 2 flowers. One grew up, one grew down. The one that grew down went back and forth and tickled my nose over and over again. It drove me crazy. Crazy? I was crazy once. They put me in a rubber room. There's that one, and then there's the song that never ends. This is the song that never ends. It just goes on and on, my friend. Some people started singing it, not knowing what it was, and they'll continue singing it forever just because this is the song that never ends. It just goes on and on, my friend. Okay, I'll stop. You want to get stabbed in a hurry, just go on a subway and just start singing that. You know, just in case you're wondering what it's like to get stabbed. Probably a good way to find out. I always like to give good advice on the channel. Anyway. The one job. You see, before this, there were 3 jobs. One was at the paper mill, standing 10 hours a day. Used to call people weak for not being able to toss a Shep pallet. Now I'm like, standing. Oh. It sounds hard. I don't know if I can take that. Can I physically endure the pain of standing? I can barely physically endure the pain of sitting for more than 4 hours. So there goes standing. Georgia Pacific just fired 700 people. They are shutting down most of their production. The other job is 18-wheeler driver, which they hire around here to deliver to and from Georgia Pacific, which is, again, shut down most of its capacity. The remaining job is the only other job, the only real job I actually do consider, and I consider taking it, a couple times a week. I fucking think about going and taking this damn job. Talking my way into a job at this place. It's a used car lot. Last time I tried to sell used cars, I failed miserably. I then learned how to sell cars at a Honda dealership. Now, while I learned sales process a whole lot better, I don't really know whether or not it was the fact that it was Hondas, because y'all know me and Hondas. If I could contact the racing team after a win, I'd be a lot smarter, but I missed the bus on that one. But typically, money is actually pretty tight for racing teams. Anyways, they don't have it quite like that. It's not like the overpaid NASCAR type people. And even then, they don't make quite as much money as you think. But, what was I saying, shit? I don't know whether or not I could actually sell used cars. You know? The only way I know how to do it is presenting myself as a mechanic and being able to vouch for the car myself. Um, I can't do that unless they're Hondas. Sorry about that. Battery needs to get plugged in. Oh, fuck. I'm actually getting pretty damn tired. But, I suppose I need to go up to the lot and just take a look at their cars. Just see if their cars are worth the shit. 'Cause, I mean, I can sell Hondas because I can vouch for a Honda. I know what years of Honda. I know when Hondas go wrong. You know, like Susie, you must be lagging behind, man. Jeez. So, how many likes are visible at the moment? It's showing 0 on my end again. I'm sitting here thinking of the times of day that I'm available to work. That's the time of day that I sleep. I would have to be sleeping right now, which means I would only be able to get 5 hours of sleep a day because I would never be able to get to sleep before midnight, and I have to get up to get the kids on the bus. Then I gotta get home in time to get the kids off the bus. While working commission only. Because that's what used car sales is. It's commission only. And it's not gonna do anything but keep me from being available trying to find investors. Selling a couple of used cars a week, if I can even sell fucking used cars, is not going to make but a couple of $100 a week. And that's not going to do shit for the investment plan. What do y'all think? What should I do? Yeah, right. Keep praying for the universe to make the shit that should happen actually happen instead of just one disaster after another. I don't want to go sell used cars, but it really is. It's the only even possible job around here. I don't even know if they're hiring. I figure I could talk my way into working a few hours a week. My drawing skills. I live in Slaughter, Louisiana. The town is Zachary. That's 50,000 people. Mostly retirees and truckers. Now, what I have done is design this entire modular building system part by part. And it's basically the best way of building houses currently available. That doesn't involve shitty materials at all. You can't build concrete buildings on mud, and that's, what we have here in the South. And all of these new construction composites made of plastic covered fiberboard and shit, like the zip system and all that. Garbage. Okay? I've developed a system of interchangeable parts. They can all be assembled in a garage, loaded onto a truck, brought to a job site, and turned into a house in a day. Now, how long it's going to take to assemble all those parts in the garage depends on the type of workspace, the productivity, and the environment. And, of course, the amount of storage that you have immediately available. But 40 by 40 should be able to fit on one 18-wheeler. The whole exterior structure. Minus the cinder blocks and concrete, of course. But that would get deployed the day before. Now, these buildings are flood-proof, earthquake resistant, the most wind resistant wooden structures you can have that aren't just like made of giant solid Swiss timbers and shit. But there are 12 by 12 composite beams throughout the structure. It has a beautiful ducted ceiling architecture that has the ducts inside of the beams. It also uses a ducted wall system that uses dehumidified geothermal air to constantly pressurize the walls throughout the house. This, in addition to the assembly line process, allowing for reduced labor costs and more efficient building, more precise building, um, allows for the use of better materials, and those materials, even if any damage should happen, there's never going to be any rot on the inside of this building. It's basically impossible. Um, the flow is just everywhere throughout the entire wall structure of the building, and because of the temperature of the flow, being geothermal, where it comes from, typically maintains a temperature between 52 and 58 degrees, depending on what latitude that you live at. Will act, that positive airflow inside of the walls will act as an insulating layer. So it doesn't just keep moisture out, it keeps you from having to spend money on insulation. And there, you can spend additional money on fucking good building materials. Now, most of the way this building works depends on little patentable brackets that I will not show you, you know? But they combine automotive racing technology with building technology to make a building that, you know, is basically crashable. And these buildings are cheaper, stronger, more long-lasting, easier to build, and quicker than take your fucking pick. So right now, what's holding me back is I'm waiting on the best choice. Okay? Y'all know I know some fucking people. I'm waiting on the best person to do this with. Now, sure as hell ain't gonna tell you who they are. And I got some other people that are into real estate, into construction, into this, that, and the other thing. It's perfect, right? But I'm waiting on these best people. I even got fucking one guy that's basically a venture capitalist. He's not the best person, though. I'm waiting on this fucking best person. I'm getting tired of waiting. It's like, you know, it's the kind of thing that needs to be done all at once with the big money. But not just that. It's got to be the right series of steps and careful networking and political lobbying, and I've got it all planned out. And if I have to go with somebody else, I gotta plan it all out again. That would suck. Like if I go with just the real estate people and the venture capital guy, and then the fucking casino guy, maybe. But then everything else gets more complicated. Like, just the process will go a whole lot more smooth. Just everybody pray for this one person to just prioritize me. Fuck's sake. Y'all know the type of money I'm talking about making. You know somebody's got too much damn money when this isn't enough to really get their attention. It's fascinating how many wealthy people I know and how fucking poor I am. But, you know, as long as they don't watch the channel, they don't fucking hear me complain. And I apologize for complaining. I was tired of sitting around with my thumb up my ass. But, you know, it helped keep my back straight. Anyways. You know, we all need to do what we can to just talk to people and sow the seeds of awareness. And don't argue with people. Don't try to talk like you're smarter than them or even. Just say, what if? Ask a question as a hypothetical. And pray that they'll see the truth for themselves. And because you asked that what if, they might recognize it. I've seen it happen many times over many years. And sometimes it takes years. But right now, all people got to do is turn on the news and they can see the what if happening right in front of them. USAID. Trump has ended the USAID assistance to the West Bank and Gaza. That's good. Because after all, it's only Palestinians. And they're all Muslims, right? I guess nobody notified him that there were Jews and Hasidics and Coptic Christians. And, yeah. The reason why we send aid there is to keep the peace among those people so they don't get slaughtered. Yeah, see, it's you don't help barbarians to help barbarians. You help barbarians to keep them from attacking the peaceful. And of course, Trump's unaware that there are, plenty of peaceful Muslims and less peaceful Muslims all the time because of people like Trump. you know me, I say, let them migrate here all they want so that we can debate them and convert them. Because you should believe in the truth if it's the truth. Mm. But people act as though they don't believe, yet they still want to claim credit for believing. Hmm. Funny how that works. Anyways, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a broadcast. Thanks for watching, everybody. Pray that the plan progresses on our side for a change. And pray that Venezuela remains calm so that it doesn't become a catalyst for something really bad. I don't know if it can be stopped altogether, but a delay would be nice considering how unprepared I am. But anyways, if you get a chance to watch the Daytona 24-hour race, make sure you catch the middle of the last part, the middle of part 4, where they keep, and you'll need the fast forward trigger, okay? Look for the little yellow box. When the yellow box turns black, then you fast forwarded too far, you go back a little bit, and you get to see them restart. Because it's raining like hell, and there's just crash, caution, crash, caution. And then they were going for a while where just like, they just kept spinning and spinning. Just people were just going off, but the race kept going. And then there was a caution again. And then they had that going again for a while. It was fucking epic. So make sure you at least catch part 4 of that 24-hour Le Mans on the IMSA. IMSA Official is the name of the channel. And that is the, you know, actual people who provide that content. As opposed to GT World, who will provide other people's content and then block it from being viewed in America half the time. Yeah. Anyways. So, I just finished watching that, and I was also watching the Bathurst Mount Panorama race. That was a lot less eventful, though. And I'm going to find some kind of racing to put on now. I'm just not sure what. Or maybe I'll just watch Bleach and try to take a nap. Yeah, I'll probably just do that. Oh wait, no, there's some racing. I just want to see more cars spin out in the rain again. Like, that was just very enjoyable. Anyways,